Merhabalar.
Mustafa merhaba.
Merhaba hocam, hoş geldiniz.
Hoş bulduk.
Hocam sesi duyabiliyor musunuz?
Ha, duyuyorum.
Tamam. Welcome Flora. Welcome Violeta and other participants. Welcome Andrei.
Hi, Mustafa.
How are you?
Greetings from Albania.
Thank you. Oh, I can see you, Tamara. Welcome, Tamara.
Just a moment, please. Hi.
Hi Violetta.
Nice to meet you all.
Same here. We meet again.
Andrei meeting connection.
Tamara, how are you?
Good morning. Good morning.
Violeta, why Flora double? Violeta. Double sim. Okay, Reyhan hocam da geliyor. Okay.
Video
Hi,
olmak
Andrei.
zorunda mı Mustafa? Do we have to
Hocam?
video on? Ya video olmalı mı?
Hocam yani görsellik açısından iyi olur ama
Peki tamam.
güzel olur aslında. Reyhan Hoca da geldi. Nardane Hoca. Hoş geldiniz Nardane Hocam. Dear Andrei, your picture is horizontal.
Yes, actually,
Vertical.
I apologize. I'm trying to fix it at the moment.
Okay. Okay. Reyhan Hocam hoş geldiniz. Nardane Hocam hoş geldiniz. Reyhan Hocam ses kapa. Ha, okey. Tamam.
Hoş bulduk.
Nasılsınız, iyi misiniz?
Teşekkür ederim. Herkese selamlar. Nasılsınız?
Merhabalar.
Başarılar dileriz.
Sağ olun.
Kocaeli Üniversitesi Afet Risk, Kocaeli Üniversitesi Hastanesi olarak Afet Risk yönetim planı hazırladık.
How are you, Violetta?
Deprem vardı, burada sel vardı vesaire vardı, yangın vardı ama
Reyhan,
yeni bir şey öğreniliyor.
How are you?
Bunlar
from Albania, how are you?
Thanks.
tabii hastanede çalışan
Tamara, hi.
sağlıkları da önem arz ediyordu. Onlara yönelik rehabilitasyon
Tamara,
programları
hi.
gerçekleştirdik.
Tamara, please voice closed. Tamara, microphone closed.
Bunlar yaptık. Bunlar sürdürülebilirlik açısından.
Microphone closed. Tamara.
Ne?
Hocam isterseniz başlayalım mı?
Olur Mustafa. Ama hepimiz burada mıyız?
Hocam çoğunluk burada.
Okay.
Reyhan Hoca da geldi. Tamara Hoca da geldi. Andrei Hocam da geldi.
Okay. Ahmet Hoca yok.
Ahmet Hoca.
Kala.
Evet hocam, Ahmet Hocam şimdi bağlanır. Ben hemen onu uyarayım. Hemen ona bir uyarı göndereyim hocam. Flora bağlanamadı. Violetta, where is Flora?
Да, каже, не чую sadвeza. Mustafa, can you hear me now?
Yes, very good.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome again.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Tamara, how are you, dear?
Flora, I can't see you. I see Violetta.
You can't see me?
No?
Why?
Wait.
Okay, Andre, your picture is very good.
I see Andre, I see Violetta. Ah, now I see Flora.
Okay, welcome Flora.
Hi, Flora.
Hi, dear.
Hocam Ahmet Hoca şu an meşgul ama bekleyelim mi?
Before starting, I want to say you that I miss you all.
Thank you. Başlayalım, o katılır. Onu zaten 4. sırada.
Tamam hocam, başlayalım isterseniz.
Okay.
Hocam siz buyurun.
Hello everyone. I presume you have met each other before, and I've also met some of you in the last year. Now, this is going to have to be a quick, rushed job, if I may say so, because we have 90 minutes and 8 speakers. Let me start by inviting Professor Tamara Milenković-Kerković, and Professor, you have about 10 minutes. So, as I said before, this is going to have to be a rushed job.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, I used to say the floor is yours before. Now the screen is yours, Professor. Please.
Thank you very much. Dear colleagues, dear hosts from Kocaeli University and distinguished professors, I would like to greet you, but I will use less than 10 minutes because I'm in a hurry because of my exams. And that I'm very pleased and very honored to greet you and to mention some of consequences on the issue of sustainability of the pandemic, global epidemic process. Pandemic of COVID is not a first global disease, but COVID-19 is first which totally transformed our lives, and we are conscious about that. And we suppose that it's here to stay. And here in Serbia, we are waiting for the second hit. And we registered now more infected and increasing number of infected people. Economists discussed COVID-19 if it will cause recession or depression of world economy. But this question is not so important because we are conscious that even the recession, even depression, it will only take much longer and involve more pain. There are a number of crises which are caused by pandemic. First, the health, economic, legal, politics. And the COVID-19 is a health crisis, first of all, with serious human and social consequences. And it also created challenges not only for economy, then for the courts and for the judicial authorities. During 3 months of pandemic in Serbia, from March till May, it has enacted state of emergency, and it caused abuse of many human rights. Of course, this economic, health, legal, of course, it has and political circumstances of crisis, because the measures in Serbia were ones of the strongest in Europe. Most of them were unconstitutional, and many of principles and human rights have been breached. Of course, it includes the rights to liberty and security, because lockdown measures caused that people older than 65 were closed in their house for 24 hours during 3 months without possibilities to walk out. Right to confess religion practices were abused too, of course. There is a right for fair trial which was abused. Many of people which were fined breaching the lockdown and mandatory measures of isolation have been judged, you could not believe, by with Skype. And their punishments were very draconic, more than 2 years in jail and so. Political effects of pandemia was very strong in Serbia, because political and constitutional rights were abused. Elections were called before pandemia, and they prolonged after pandemia with totally other laws and in the healthy risk. It is the reason because now the most of opposition in Serbia are boycotting the election, which will be held on Sunday, and it of course it will be create a much deeper political crisis, of course an economic crisis in Serbia. So there are so many aspects on pandemia, and on sustainability will be a great challenge and great temptation. But all those aspects could be not only a challenge which is accelerated and put in front of us. Sustainability will be a big change too. And of course, I wish you a good and successful work today. And I will be a little bit with you before I need to go to my exams. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
Any questions to Professor? Right. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks once more. Now we move on to Professor Mitic to deliver. Who is from Belgrade University in Serbia. I presume you all know each other. To deliver his speech. The screen is yours, Professor.
Thank you very much. Good morning once again. I do hope that we can hear each other well.
Yes, we do.
Well, let me thank you for the privilege to address you. It is my first time to have the opportunity to address your prestigious institution. Well, the very topic of my presentation is called An Event, the Philosophical Conceptualization of the Global Pandemic of COVID-19. So we will try to make a philosophical approach to all these historical, political, and broadly speaking, social frame that we participate in. We can approach firstly the analysis of the change of the social paradigm that is taking place before our eyes from the perspective of the philosophical concept of the event. This is an event. The structural configuration of the event is such that it is radically different from what it was, that it represents an absolute otherness, an interruption, an ontological rupture. It appears out of nowhere and reconfigures the structure. Its origin is not clear, its duration and consequences are unknown. The event represents the simultaneous closure of one and the opening of the new system. The event destabilizes the dominant structure and hierarchy. As a radical event, it generates new options, possibilities that were not present before. It includes what was excluded. As such, it introduces a new state, a new normalcy. What was previously hidden is now appearing intensely. Frequency of the use of the terms such as discipline, supervision, command, obedience, prohibition, punishment, fear, panic, outlines the value horizon of non-normal order, discursive edging of the boundary of the totem movement, the wire. Radical expansion of otherness has already been extended to men as such. The people and citizenry overnight became a population, a biomass, introduced into ontological uncertainty, radical uncertainty, fear, collective panic, deprived of legal status and civil rights. The substantiated post-civic entities are reduced to a bare body controlled by the sovereign. But it is a body without properties, which has only one more right, the right to die. The right to die as the last right of a man and a citizen. But we are also dangerous in ourselves. Our own body becomes the enemy. We have to stand still. Every movement is criminalized now. It is a post-political subject, which is at the same time an object, a post-citizen, deprived of his civil, legal, and political status, a man who is excluded. When life from the bios, as qualified forms of life and political action, is reduced to its biological form, zoe, that it is reduced to a bare life, which, if normalized, produces through its biopower a space of exclusion. This series of technical terms by the Italian philosopher Giorgio Agamben offers us a conceptual strategy for articulating an event that reconfigures our entire framework of life, a state of emergency in a time of pandemic. The current dispositive as a set of discourses, institutions, architectural solutions, decrees, measures, political, social, psychological, and symbolic violence normalizes the state of emergency as the power of the sovereign to include and exclude from the political community. The materialization of this space of suspension is theoretically provocatively represented by the figure of the camp. It is an exclusive space, a regime of loneliness, a space of the normative project of social distance as a new form of sociability. Every legal and political structure in which naked life is produced and reproduced is a camp. Simultaneous exclusion and inclusion in the state of emergency was performed in it. That order is neither anarchy nor a legal order. It is an order of administration of bare life. As Giorgio Agamben teaches us, the camp is a space that opens when a state of emergency becomes the rule. So we live in a state of emergency that is regular. This is the main point. So a camp is a space that is reproduced in different contexts whenever an entity is produced which is theoretically articulated as bare life, nudity. It is no longer the ancient Greek zoe, a biological reproduction protected by the oikos, but something between life and death, like a virus, dangerous pulsation, a threat. We are all dangerous now. We are not in danger. We are danger. It is repeated. We are all bandits in this sense today. We are non-citizens who breathe dangerously in a space without rights. But such a natural life is not natural. It has already been produced by nano-political strategies to be marginalized, stigmatized, and possibly eliminated. In Ellen Badiou's conceptual directive, the event requires a decision. So sovereign is the one who has to decide on the existence of the event. Hence the hesitation. Because the event is essentially new, it is made possible by everything that is not included in the system. It is impossible to calculate the event. It is an impossible event for any regime as such. Thus, the dominant structure collapses because it must name the impossible. So we are all trying to name the impossible, this new state of the regular emergency. It is a moment of new truth, a radical turn, an acknowledgement that something has happened and that nothing will be the same as before. So, the system that produced the ruling situation is faced with the fact that the event is based on an alternative reality, that new entities are born who are involved in the event and seek recognition. The event did not have to happen. It could have been different, but now, when it happened, it introduced a new language, a new grammar. It semantically and discursively destabilizes the ruling order. It introduces him to a narrative and legitimation crisis. The survival or destruction of the system will depend on how the event is narratively shaped. Walter Benjamin, Martin Heidegger, Gilles Deleuze, Paul Ricoeur, Alain Badiou, these are all the philosophers that set up an eminent philosophical discourse in which this concept could appear. So yes, the COVID-19 pandemic can be philosophically interpreted as event. We will have new subjects, we will have new situation, we will have radically new beginning. So yes, the old order is closing to its end. We will have to give meaning to the new principle of life now introduced by the new event of global pandemic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor. Very interesting.
Thank you, Andrei.
Can I just, before I think Professor Karkovic is about, is going to leave soon. So can I just summarize what two speakers have said so far? Professor Karkovic mentioned about strong draconian measures that have been taken in Serbia, sort of like bordering on the abuse of constitutional rights due to corona pandemic. Am I right, Professor?
Yes.
And also Professor Mitic, a very interesting speech. He talked about social paradigm and otherness and probably a new world order. Professor, may I ask, does this new world order will it lead to new totalitarian regimes, or will people become more totalitarian themselves?
Yes, thank you so much on the question. Well, actually, we are now coming into a new actually form of live social activity where unsocialness is now becoming new sociability. So this is a paradox. We are being social in our unsociability. So we are urged to do that like this at the moment. So the means of control will be, let's say, more strong, new, and we are now getting into some kind of panopticon, technical panopticon, in which every movement of thought and body are now being, in a sense, controlled. And all of us, of course, will now have to take into account this new variable of life. We will now take care not only of other persons, but of our movements of ourselves. So we are not in danger. We are a danger to ourselves too. Every movement is criminalized now.
Okay. Do you think the new world order that you speak of, it's a term that has been used for the last 2 decades for probably different meaning? What kind of new world order do you think will emerge out of this crisis?
Well, if we talk in political sense, then we are moving towards some new basic global consensus on the parameters of political, legal, and social life. But this new momentum is opening up new spaces, but not only in negative sense. Perhaps this is a new chance for the humanity to give chance to the new solidarity. So let us be all more aware of the danger that we are all coming in. So this is the time for the new cosmopolitanism, I would say, and I would give chance to this direction of development.
I think you're absolutely right. Thanks very much. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you so much.
I invite Professor Flora Merker to deliver her speech.
Ahmet Hocam hoş geldiniz. Hocam Ahmet Hoca da katıldı.
Tamam.
Microphone, Flora.
Flora.
Microphone.
Flora, microphone open.
Can you turn your microphone on, please?
Okay.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Has arrived my presentation?
Yes, please.
Okay. I sent to you just to see some charts that I think are interesting, because I have charts for world in total, for Europe some, and some others for Western Balkans and Albania, because Albania is in this region. I am focused in COVID-19's impacts, and I am focused in what COVID-19 has caused in total, in population, in politics, in economy, etc. And I think that it has impacts in poverty and household welfare. And all of us know that many people has lost jobs, and remittances for the families that are outside are reduced. Education, even all of us have made the lesson online, but we all know that the participation in the lesson has not been as in class. So we think I am speaking from my experience, and some of the students said that they have not Wi-Fi at home or much Wi-Fi to stay long periods and taking the lesson, and this means that they have. Now difficulties to enter in the exams. Even in my school, before exam we have to make 4 weeks lesson to give the students main things that we have made online. Health, of course, health is very interesting issue in this period for mental health, or for health in general. Labor markets in all the world, big number of unemployment people is seen during this period. Air pollution challenges. This means that the places or the countries that have problems with air pollution, of course, have more problems with the pandemic. And social protection, financial sector. We all know that the governments now, according or doing their monetary and fiscal policy, have to manage the hard situation that is created. Trade is a very problem now for export and for imports between countries. Because some of products has stopped to go outside the country and to come in each country. And private sector, of course, has caused a shock this pandemic. I have a table here, taken from Statista, of course. That is what is World Economic Outlook for January 2020, before the pandemic. That is forecasted that for this year economy to have economic growth for 3.3%, but in fact, in world economy has gone down with 3%, but International Monetary Fund is a little optimistic for the next year, for 20 or after April or June of this year, that economy starting from the second half of this year and next year, 21, the economy will go up again with 0.58%. The figures, it was in the previous slide, it was for the world in general, and now we are focused in some countries of Europe. And we see that Greece is with the bigger figure, but in minus for the GDP growth. But in other side is forecasted that Greece to have the higher increase in the next year, in the year 2021, and a lot of of countries have negative GDP growth in this year, starting from 7 to 90.7, from 7 to Latvia and 90.7 to Greece, Italy, Spain, Croatia, United Kingdom, all the countries of the Europe. And now let's concentrate at the Western Balkans, when Albania is part of, and we look the Serbia, North Macedonia, Montenegro, Kosovo, Bosnia, all the region has negative GDP growth for this year. And we see that Montenegro and Albania have the bigger one, with minus five, of course, and minus 5.6. But let's hope that next year will be a good year for us. Just in economy, what the pandemic affects, how the pandemic affects the components of aggregate, but in general, of course, decline consumption, because less money are in the hands of the population, decline investment, because companies are, most of companies are in difficulties, increasing government expenditure, of course, because government has to make expansion for health, for hospitals, and in medicines in general, and for the packages that have done for the population, for the businesses, to help the businesses in this period, and declining net exports, of course, because the difference between exports and imports, as I say before, it's problematic. And now, what measures in general have made the central banks? We see here that the central banks are focused in interest rates, and as we can see that they have used negative interest rates. Why? Somebody can say, what are these negative interest rates and why they do this? Let's see here, negative territory, here Japan, European Central Bank, Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland. Why the central banks use negative interest rates? Because they want that second level banks, or as we say, commercial banks, to take less money and to give to spend more money for the population, for the firms that have possibility to get loan with a low interest, but not the banks to take money, but banks to take less money in order to help the companies and the population that needs to take loans. And some from theory to practice, the policy of central bank prints money is one way to go out from this difficult situation. And for what? To buy government debt in bond markets, as Albania, as I say, after Albania has done in these days, 1 or 2 weeks before, which lowers interest rate on financial assets, incentivizing greater borrowing by businesses, leading to greater expenditure and investment, and which creates employment and supports economic growth. These are these 6 steps to go out from this difficult period. Structure and size of stimulant packages against COVID-19 Western Balkan countries. Albania give government of Albania, of course, have give 2.5% of the GDP, Bosnia and Herzegovina 2.3, and Kosovo 2.8, and Montenegro 1.1, and so on. And the bigger one is Serbia with 6.7. Is that right, Tamara? But what about the United States? All of us know that United States give 3.5 trillion, which of course will go in a very big public debt in United States with 102.2% of the GDP, because that is really big big sum. But what about of Albania? Government of Albania has give two packages, in total $420 million, or about 2.8, 2.9% of the GDP. And what is to say that 2 weeks before government got an euro bond of 650 million euros to guarantee the previous debts, and to create additional liquidity in the economy. But about, according to the economics, they forecast that the public debt now will increase from 64 that is now to maybe at 82 until 85%. That is a very big figure for Albanian economy. And we say until now that most of companies have had a negative impact during the COVID, but in the other side, all of us know that are also the companies that have the positive impact. And the first one are e-commerce economy. We know that Facebook and Amazon have raised incomes in 60% and so on, all the big companies. Other companies are modern food retail, medical appliance, pharmaceutical products, pharmaceutical raw materials, and so we can say that negative situation by COVID, but also a positive situation by him. And forecast for the future, we can say that we will have change in behavior, change in consumption, change in commercial relation with foreign countries, increased immigration flow, decrease of remittances, decrease of foreign direct investment. Thank you.
Thank you, Flora. Any questions for Flora? Right. Can I ask something, Flora?
Yes, thank you.
What do you think, which countries will emerge more sort of like benefiting from this crisis? Or which countries will probably, pick up better than any other country in the world?
I think that countries that didn't close the economy with hard measures. Swiss, Netherlands, and some other countries that only with their politics or with their say the people that you have to stay safe, you have to do the rules anti-COVID, but not close the economy. I can say for Albania that for 2 months or more, we can't go outside the house only for buying something. So that means that all the economy was closed and all the companies doesn't work. This situation has created a very bad situation in Albania. And this is the reason that government take this Eurobond, because no money from taxes, no money from incomes from companies going to the government to make payments. So I think that that countries that didn't take so strong policies anti-COVID, now I think they are better.
Okay.
And you have to know that Albania has also only 40 died people from COVID. 40.
That's what I was going to say. Well, according to Worldometers,
Yes, because we stay closed for a long period, and now that the economy is open, now we have 80 or nearly 100 people in a day with COVID.
Oh, COVID.
Yes, now is
cases
now is difficult. Now is difficult for us. Now we have to manage the situation, because before everybody stay at home, nobody outside, no COVID. Now it's really difficult for the Albania. It's difficult situation.
It's it's catch-22. Anyway, thanks very much for a very interesting talk. Now I invite Professor Ahmet Kala from Istanbul University.
Bağlantı problemi galiba yaşadı hocamız. Mesaj attı. Özür dileyerek ayrılacağını söyledi hocam.
Righty-ho. Then we go on to the next speaker. Professor Nandane Yusufova.
Evet.
The screen is yours. She here?
Hocam mikrofonu kapalı hocam.
Professor Yusufova.
Hoş gördük sizleri.
Ha.
Hocam Bey çok sağ olun.
Merhabalar.
Təqdimata görə. Nə yaxşı olardı ki, bu pandemiya olmayardı. Biz elə üzbəüz görüşüb konferansımızı edərdik. Mənim mövzum biraz başqaydı. Ancaq indi başqa səpkili mövzu eləmək istədim. Yəni mövzunun adını belə qoydum. Düşünülən problemin həllində elmlər üstü inteqrasiya ilə fəza təfəkkürünün vəhdəti. Əvvəla demək istəyirəm ki, elmlər üstü inteqrasiya, bir var elmlər arası inteqrasiya, bir də var elmlər üstü inteqrasiya. Elmlər üstü inteqrasiya fəza təfəkkürlə həll olunur. Fəza təfəkkürünü də bir balaca açıqlama desəm, fəza təfəkkürü zahirdən batini görə bilmək, analiz sintez edə bilmək, məntiqi riyazi düşüncə ilə məsələnin həllini tapmaq. Yəni bugünkü problem düşünülən bu dünyavi problemin özündə də bir elmlər üstü inteqrasiya ilə yanaşmaq, fəza təfəkkürünə yanaşmaq lazımdır.
Professor, can we do this in English or shall I translate for you?
Başa düşmədim.
Hocam çeviri.
Siz bilirsiniz. Çünkü
diğer şeyler, konuşmacılar Türkçe bilmediği için.
Buyurun.
Yani isterseniz siz İngilizce devam edin.
Ben İngilizce bilmirəm, siz devam edin. Tercüme lazımdı, siz edin.
O zaman birkaç cümle söyleyin, bana müsaade edin. Onu ben tercüme edeyim, ondan sonra siz devam edersiniz.
Onda ben de başlıktan bir de deyim ki, mənim mövzum elmlər üstü inteqrasiya ilə fəza təfəkkürün vəhdətidir. Problemlərin həllində bu vəhdətdə yanaşma lazım.
Okay. Now the problem is about the approach about integrated approach sort of like of different sciences, different scientific areas.
Elmlər üstü inteqrasiya, elmlər arası inteqrasiya var. Elmlər üstü inteqrasiya isə böyük yaradanın vəhyi ilə düşülən bir inteqrasiyadır.
Okay, there is integration between interdisciplinary or intersciences. There is integration above sciences, which will be more related to the creator.
Fəza təfəkkürü isə zahirdən batini görə bilmək və batində düşülən problemlərin həllini riyazi məntiqi yolla həllini tapmaq deməkdir.
Okay. Well, the important matter is to look in the past. By looking at the past, to think about the future problems and to how to solve the future problems.
Aristotel deyirdi ki, həyatda hər şey ya qara, ya ağdır.
Aristotle used to say everything in life is either black or white.
Yəni o Aristotel yenə deyirdi ki, həyatda hər şey ya var, ya yoxdur. Yəni illər boyu bu vəhdətdə hər kəs elmə yanaşma aparmışlar.
Okay. Aristotle also used to say that everything is either exist or doesn't. So in this respect, everything should be more scientific, or a scientific approach should be taken up.
Azərbaycanın görkəmli alimi, Amerikada yaşayan alimi və bu yaxında rəhmətə getdi. Lütfüzadə isə deyirdi ki, ağla qara arasında çoxlu renk çalarlar var. Varla yox arasında çoxlu nüanslar vardır.
Okay. Now, the famous Azeri scientist who recently passed away, living in United States, Lütfüzade, also used to say there are many different tones or shades between the colors, as well as there are many nuances between existence and non-existence.
Yəni hamımız bilirik ki, rəqəm kimi 2-dən sonra 3 gəlir. Aristotel də belə deyirdi.
We all know that the 3 comes after 2. That's what Aristotle also used to say.
Lütfüzadə dedi ki, 2-dən sonra 2 ilə 3 arasında milyardlarla rəqəmlər vardır. Yəni 2,1, 2,5, 100-1 və belə. Milyardlarla rəqəmlər vardır.
But Lütfüzade used to say between 2 and 3 there are billions of different numbers, even infinite number of numbers. So there is not sort of like limited to either 2 or 3.
Bugünkü problemə gəlincə, bugünkü pandemiya ilə əlaqəli bütün dünyanı qorxuda, həyəcanda, stresdə saxlayan bu pandemiyanı da elə Lütfüzadənin nəzəriyyəsi ilə yaxınlaşa bilərik.
Okay, when we come to today's global pandemic crisis, we can only approach the situation through Lütfüzade's approach.
Yəni ümumi riyazi məntiqi yanaşmada var rasional ədədlər, var irrasional ədədlər.
What I mean to say is that there are rational or irrational solutions, but what we should take up is the rational approach.
Bu baxımdan bu COVID-19'u yanaşsa, yəni bu görünən mikrobun arxasında görünməyən və ilahi bir təfəkkürlə varlığın bizə bir imtahan olduğunu demək mümkündür.
It is possible to say that this is a rather serious exam of a visible entity, which is the coronavirus, by what we can see, by invisible, more divine beings.
Allah'ın bütün imtihanlarından üzü ağı çıxmağı Allah öz bəndələrinə göndərmişdi. Çünki Allah hər şeyi vəhdətdə yaratmışdı. Ona görə düşülən bu pandemiya bütün dünyanı bürümüşsə, bütün dünyada ümumi bir vəhdətdə çıxış yolu tapıb inşallah hər şey gözəl olacaq tezliklə.
Okay. Allah sort of like sometimes puts people to test, and I see this as one of the God's or Allah's tests, and hopefully through a concerted and shared effort we will solve this crisis soon.
Covid-19 kimi düşünülen bir pandemiyanın arkasında güzel bir gelecek durur. Çünkü insanlar felsefi, psikoloji, riyazi, mentiki düşünmeye mecbur oldular.
Okay, I believe a better world or better future will emerge out of this COVID pandemic crisis because people's mentality, the way they look at things, the way they approach things, will will be a cleansed approach. It will be people's mentality will be cleaner, more cleansed. And I believe a better world will emerge out of this crisis.
Özcan Bey, mən çox danışmaq istəmirəm, çünki vaxtı çox almaq istəmirəm. Bu mövzu çox böyük mövzudur. Allah'tan hər kəsə gözəl gün, can sağlığı, inşallah tezliklə birbaşa görüşmək arzusuyla.
Hocam çok ilginç şeyler söylediniz. Thank you. Well, you have touched a very interesting subject, and hopefully a better world for all of us, for all humanity will emerge out of this pandemic crisis. Thank you. Thanks, Professor.
Çok sağ olun.
Now, I call upon the next speaker. Is Professor Kalabek online? No. Okay. The next speaker is Professor Palakolovic from the University of East Sarajevo in Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Hocam o hoca gelemedi galiba.
Okay.
Dönüş yapamadı.
Let's go on to Professor Reyhan Dadash from Azerbaijan. Mustafa Reyhan Hoca.
Hocam Nardane Hoca'nın yanında aslında.
Evet. Duymuyor mu?
Nardane Hocam, Reyhan Hoca geçti. Tamam.
Tamam.
Tamam, Reyhan Hocam.
Mikrofonu da açabilirsiniz Reyhan Hocam.
Merhaba. Ben özel olarak bir konuşma hazırlamadım. Yani konuşma yapacağımı bilmiyordum. Aslında ben Amanbek Bey'in konuşmasının tercümanlığı yapacaktım. Maalesef ulaşamadım ona. Bir iki kelime pandemiden konuşacağım. Biraz kimsenin beklemediği bir durum. Efendim?
Reyhan Hocam, İngilizce konuşur musunuz?
Yok, İngilizce hazırlamadım. Yani bu bana şey oldu. Ben
Okay.
zaten konuşma yapmayacaktım.
Okay.
Sadece bir iki kelime katkımı yapacağım.
Okay.
Pandemi bizi kendi kabuğumuza çektiği kadar da bir küresel bir şey olduğu için ülke olarak birbirine yardımlaşma da koydu ortaya. Yani ne kadar kendi kabuğumuza çekilsek de, ne kadar kendi problemlerimizle ilgilensek de bizi birbirimize devlet olarak uluslararası yardımlaşmadan bizi çekindirmedi. Ve böyle bir dönemde dünyada yaşayan insanlar herkes birleşti. Bununla mübarize için üsullar aktarmaya başladı. Ve kimse yakasını kenara çekmedi. Bir pandemi bize ne açtı? Bizim doğaya ne kadar kötülüğü yaptığımızı gösterdi bize. Biz hakikaten doğaya çok amansızca davrandık ve bu müddet erzinde doğayı ne kadar kirlettiğimizin farkına vardık. Hayvanlara ne kadar belediye doğayı kirlettikçe hayvanların özgürlüğünü aldık. Bunu gördük, farkına vardık. Bir de kendi yaşamımıza içten baktık, dışarıdan baktık. Kendimizi gördük aynada. Biz ne yaptığımızı, nasıl bir hayat yaşadığımızı, neleri yanlış yaptığımızı, neleri doğru yaptığımızı görme fırsatımız oldu. Bu açıdan bundan sonraki dönemde hakikaten pandemiden sonra bizi farklı bir yaşam bekliyor. Artık her yapacağımız şeyin sonunu düşünmek zorunda kalacağız. ve bu Covid-19 bize böyle değil, dünyaya bir sürpriz oldu, kötü bir sürpriz oldu. Ama düşünürüm ki bunun da üstesinden yalnız elim ve bilimle gelebiliriz biz. Başka türlüsü mümkündür. O açıdan bugün bizim konuşmamız, birbirimize destek olmamız, geleceğde atacağımız her hansı bir adım iyiye doğru bir adım. Düşünürüm ki bugün bunu her hansı bir ülke yapsa bu dışarı yansıyacak, paylaşılacak ve böylelikle önceden dediğim gibi bu yardımlaşmayla dünya olarak bu problemden çıkacağız inşallah. Bunu bir sınav diyelim, bize Allah tarafından göndermiş bir sürekli insanların kendini görmesi, kendini tanıması, bir daha kendine dışarıdan bakması fırsatını verdi. İnşallah her şey geçer. Yani bilim sayesinde, elim sayesinde biz bunun üstesinden geleceğiz ve bizim üzerimize çok büyük bir yük düşür bu anlamda. Teşekkür ederim. Çok sağ olun.
Thank you, Professor Ryan. Can I just summarize what Professor has said? She thinks that this corona pandemic brought countries together. I mean, countries became sort of like more helpful towards each other. Even the countries, for example, Turkey is one of them, you know, helped more than 150 countries, you know, sent more than 150 countries medical aid, despite the fact that it needs the medical, you know, stuff itself. And and she also thinks that it will also cause people to self-reflect more, where hopefully they can get rid of their selfishness, hopefully they can be less greedy, and hopefully they can be kinder towards nature, and hopefully they can be more protective and careful towards other living beings such as animals. And through this self-reflection of people, she thinks that a better and cleaner nature will emerge. But the only way to beat this crisis is through science, and science only. So that's, I hope I summarized it correctly, Professor. Thanks very much for your contribution. Thank you. Now let's go on to Violetta Netza. Hello, Violetta. Nice to meet you again from last year.
Thank you.
And
Hello. First of all, I wish you and your families are fine and didn't have any problem with virus.
We have been fine so far. Thank you. I hope yours too.
Secondly, I would to wish the Congress success. And the last but not the least, I hope we will meet the next Congress offline, not online.
Hopefully. Thank you.
So I really miss you. I'm very nice to meet you so in this platform. The last Congress, I had a paper named about earthquake. And when I returned in Dursi, it was a strong shake that destroyed mostly my city. Before I have damage to all, I am in my home in the 7th floor. So I am not afraid by virus, I'm afraid by earthquake. Mustafa knows, I have said to Mustafa that I am not afraid from virus, but the earthquake, it is something else. So referring to the situation, I thought to make a study about online learning. You know, we faced with online learning, all of us faced with online learning. We had difficulties, we had challenges, but in my study, it was a well-structured questionnaire directed to the students, not to the professors, to the students. It was a questionnaire distributed online because it was the only way I could gather the data. I distributed about 120 questionnaires, but only 99 from them were analyzed because the other part of questionnaire was unuseful for analyze. In fact, the academic staff made every effort to ensure the students that they will receive the highest possible level of supports so that traditional practice could be replaced as well as possible. I think you also have made many efforts to serve the quality of teaching to your students. There are many challenges. I made this questionnaire structured with many questions to gather from the students the information I needed for this study. For example, a question was if the students were prepared for this kind of teaching, or the professors were prepared also, because two parts were enabled at the first steps to have a normal situation because of virus. Which were the difficulties and challenges? Because we faced with difficulties, you know. What we conclude? This paper answers all of these questions by analyzing primary data gathered from a questionnaire. In fact, the data were gathered from the students of Dursi University, especially Faculty of Business, and Tirana University, Faculty of Economics. And 64% of the students were from Dursi University, and the other part were from Tirana University. One of the questions that I had addressed to the students was, as I said before, how prepared were they to develop online learning? And in fact, mostly of them responded, or I can say about 60% of the students responded that they were not at all prepared or a little prepared for this platform, for this manner of developing teaching. The main platforms the professors used for online learning were Zoom and Google Meeting. We used both of them and Google Classroom to send them classworks, etc. For me personally, as a professor, it was more difficult than in auditorium because I needed to explain every student the classworks, to explain their mistakes and so on. But when I asked the students if the professors have been correct in sending materials online, mostly of them, exactly 71% of them evaluated it positively. So the professors have been very correct in sending materials online, and this is a positive fact for us. This is a good thing evaluated from them. At the other side, I asked them by the questionnaire if they were present in Zoom platforms or Google Lessons, and mostly of them, about 80%, said that they have been in many sessions or in all sessions. This is another positive fact from our students. They had great interest for online teaching, so we are more enthusiastic in this aspect. If I can see in another side the questionnaire, I can say that I made another question. In how many courses you take part? The meeting in Zoom or Google Classroom was effective. And they said that in the theoretical subjects, the meeting in Zoom was effective, or in Google Meeting. But in the subjects which contains exercises, this kind of teaching was not so effective, because they need to face with the professor to explain the exercises and so on. So in these subjects, they think that the Google meeting or Zoom meeting were not so effective as in theoretical subjects. My subject is theoretical, is marketing, so I think it has been very successful. And when I asked them which are the difficulties they face too, they said lack of internet in the cities where they live, because they live to Dursi or Tirana, and they go to their families in this situation. And the second reason was inability to purchase packages of internet, because mostly of them have more than 5 subjects this semester. So it is difficult to buy packages of internet for online learning. They have classworks in many subjects, mostly in the subject that they developed in this semester. So they have been it is an interesting fact that they have been very correct in fulfilled their duties in handing their homeworks to the professors. This is another positive fact. I'm going to make a short composition. So when I asked them if they feel safe when they return to auditorium, they mostly said no, or a little bit safe. They are afraid. And the other question, the last but not the least, I asked them if they have emotions for the exams, and they said yes, much or extremely much, 77%. They are more afraid than in exams as they usually face too. So as a conclusion, I can say that online learning is not just a technological matter in nowadays. You know, many universities faced with e-learning from many years as a consequence of advanced technology. But nowadays, online learning is going to develop. It redefines the way teachers' knowledge is transmitted to students. Another conclusion of my study. And it seems that online learning will continue to develop and will be part of future teaching activities. I think so. In the condition in which it was developed, it has positive impact on the lives of students, not only in the term of knowledge transmission, but also in reducing the level of student stress. It was a kind of reducing student stress. In the age of digitalization, online learning is growing even more and will be useful for students, professors, and educational institutions. And last, the quality of online learning need to be improved. I think so. This is my material shortly. I want to thank you once again for your work, for preparing everything for this Congress. And I wish a successful Congress.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions for Professor? Can I ask a question, Professor? What about the efficiency of learning? I mean, did they learn better through online teaching, or do they think they used to learn better in class?
You are asking for students, I
yes,
think.
that's right. Because you did the work on
students. When I met them in the Zoom platform, they said, Professor, we are so glad to meet you here, but we wanted more to be in auditorium. Their opinion is that is more effective, more qualitative to be in auditorium. I said my subject is theoretical, mostly theoretical, but they need to face to each other, to me, to professors. So I think it is a kind of learning, determinant kind of learning because, you know, the situation was very, very bad. We were closed. Albania were very closed. Now we are open, but we can't stay more closed. But the students prefer to be part of auditorium. At the other side, they are afraid. They are not safe.
True.
Our university have taken measures to make them the conditions with everything, because these 3 weeks we are in auditorium, but we are also afraid.
Okay, thank you. Thanks very much. Okay, that concludes today's session, I believe. Öyle değil mi Mustafa?
Evet hocam.
Tamam.
Olsun.
I would like to thank all participants for taking time and making the effort to join in. And well, I wish you all the best, and not only personally to you, but to your families. Please stay safe, and I hope to see you soon, hopefully, when this crisis is over. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for support. Thank you.
Bye.
As soon as possible. Teşekkürler hocam.
Görüşürüz Mustafa. Ben mi kapatayım Liv?
Ha, ben kapatabilirim hocam. Sağ olun.
Hadi görüşürüz. Sağ olun.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.